Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's House, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you're all doing well on a spring afternoon here in Newburyport. Our guest today, fresh off the Boston Marathon, 26.2 miles. Congratulations goes up to Felisha Lees of Sandown, New Hampshire. First time on the show. How are you, Felisha?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
And how actually are you? How are you feeling here right after the Boston Marathon?
I am sore.
I bet you are. It was, I was there, not running. I was watching and cheering, and I kept thinking how hot it must have been on all the runners.
It was extremely hot.
Yeah.
We train in 35-degree weather in New England, so 73, 74 degrees was not on the radar.
Yeah.
For the hottest day
It's crazy.
of the year so far.
I mean, there's been marathon days like that. It is kind of like one of the tricks of the marathon, right? It is you train all winter in like cold weather, and a lot of times, sometimes Patriots Day is kind of ugly. This was not the case. This is very hot, and like what I mean, is that talked about during the winter? Do you remember having those conversations? Like, keep in mind, it could be 70. You just never know.
You never know what you're going to get into.
Yeah.
I ran it in 2019, and we got every single sort of weather except for snow.
Okay.
So you truly never know.
Oh, 2019, I remember that. That was ugly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wind,
Thunderstorms, rain.
Crazy.
Sun came out.
So was that better?
I think so. I honestly think so.
2019,
you got to cool down.
Yeah.
It wasn't overheating direct sun 24/7 throughout the entire time running.
Okay, so we were actually talking a little bit off the air, and I actually had to stop our conversation because I like hearing it for the first time. Your story's fascinating. You thought about giving up at a couple points, or
I did.
So, all right, let me in. Tell me what happened.
I started off doing great. I am not a fast runner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of the slow AF club.
Okay.
But I do my job, right? Getting out there and doing what I need to do. I was on pace. I felt strong. I was staying calm with the first 3 miles of the crowd, trying to weave in and out, doing really good until 10 miles, and then the sun just wreaked havoc on my body.
So you were feeling it the whole time, but you're like, I'm good. Keep the
Yeah.
pace. And then at the 10-mile mark, you said, all right, it's hit me now.
It's hit me.
Okay.
Nausea, lightheadedness, body chills, and I could just feel the heat stroke coming on, and I was like, okay, I gotta slow down a little bit. So my miles started to decrease, and then about the halfway mark, I was like, I don't know if I'm actually gonna be able to finish this.
Which is probably shocking to you, because I get the impression you were like, well, that's not, I know I can do it.
Yeah.
But again, 74, what did you say? It got to 74?
It's 74,
Oh,
midday. Yeah, and charity runner, so I started 11:20. So the sun was...
Yeah. I was right there. I was in Kenmore at 11:20, and it was, even in the crowd, people were saying like, it is hot. There were people were, stripping off sweatshirts and all that. And water was a bit of an, I guess an issue, right?
Yeah.
Because I imagine you want to keep drinking the whole time, right?
I tried to the best that I could. A buddy of mine actually jumped in at Heartbreak Hill to carry a water bottle for me and did the last 10 miles of the race with me, so I had water.
That is amazing. Who is this person?
Ben is it's my husband.
Ben who? I need everything.
I don't know his last name.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to say his last name.
Ben the hero.
Ben is a hero. He's got a crazy last name, but he was just a gem of a human. I had the most amazing pit crew. My husband, Craig, his best friend, Will, and then Ben, and the three of them, every couple of miles, they just made sure that I was hydrated, had the fuel that I needed. And when I was ready to give up, they're like, you are going to finish this thing one way or the other.
Wow.
So when I met them right before Heartbreak Hill, and I was like, I haven't had water in 2 miles. They're like, all right. They grabbed a water bottle. He hopped on the course, and
wow. So he just did it with you. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. I mean, were they kind of letting that stuff go? Because I imagine you're probably not supposed to jump in without a bib number, but
yeah, there was
if you want to run with her to make sure she gets water, that's fine. Was that kind of the deal?
Yeah, it was definitely less crowded.
Yeah.
As I was getting through the hills, I think if it was more of the beginning part of the race, they would have been like, get off. There's a few comments made, but I think they realized that I needed the assistance, and they were okay with me buddying up. But yeah. Wow.
So good job, Ben. You got to finish. I mean, you would think that's one of the things that like people will understand. I need water.
I need water.
It's hot.
Yeah.
So when you hit that mile 10 and your first kind of hint of maybe I can't do this. You've trained for how many months? 6
months.
6 straight months of training, which is that's like a full-time job. It's every day, right?
Just about.
Whether even if it's not running every day, there's at least there's a mental part of it.
Peloton.
Sure, yeah.
There's weight training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 6 months of your life, and then at mile 10, not even halfway through the race, you're thinking, might not be my day.
Mm-hmm.
That must play all sorts of mind games on you.
It was a total mental game from
Wow.
there forward. But one of the really cool things I love about Boston is the community that surrounds all of the racers and those who are on the race course with you.
Mm-hmm.
They can tell when there's other people running, and they can tell that you're weak, you need
Yeah.
help, you need lifting up. People come up from out of the woodworks. I saw one person literally pushing somebody up the hill to get them to the top. People were booting, rallying, and people were around them, making sure that they had the support that they needed.
So that's even among the racers.
Around the racers,
Because that same feeling you get from the crowd.
You do.
I mean, the crowd can just see it if somebody's struggling, and then you
Yes.
just hear roars and...
Somebody screamed at me. She's like, "You're still faster than the green line." And I was like, "Yes, I am. You're right."
As a man who took the green line that day, I think that's true.
Yeah, they were great.
It really does lift you through, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. It does.
I mean, can you you talk about chills of heat stroke. It's like that extra adrenaline push that you can actually feel in your body, endorphins or whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
The Boston crowd, man, it's something.
It is. And I had my name on the back of my jersey, and just hearing people be like, "Let's go, Felisha, you got it." It was like, it always happened at moments that you needed it the
Yeah.
most, to be like, "Okay, yes, like I can do this."
I think that's good for spectators to know too, because I think sometimes, it's obvious when people can hear you. Sometimes people stop and say thank you, but sometimes you're just so focused and you go. But most runners do hear that stuff.
Yeah.
I hear that stuff all the time of I tried to just kept my eyes forward and kept going and going, and I heard the crowd and people yelling your name, and it's like they do. It's like, I think that's why it's such a cool Boston day. It's because the fans are so much a part of it and help the runners in so many ways. But
Yeah.
so that's a crazy story. So then you end up finishing, and you said you didn't get the time you wanted. Obviously, if it's going to be 74 degrees, you're going to miss your time.
Yeah.
But on this particular day, that probably doesn't matter to you, right? It was all about finishing.
It was. It was.
How do you? So you're a charity runner, so I know from experience, not from running it, but I've helped others do it, and that's not an easy thing. Like, if you don't have a good qualifying time, which is like a very small portion of people, you have to raise money, and that's, unless it's changed, that was never an easy process. Like,
No.
it's a lot of money for good causes, but
Yep.
you gotta. That's part of the 6 months too. You gotta put on all this time raising money.
It's a full-time job times 3.
Yeah.
Charity run, fundraising, training for the marathon, and then your full-time job.
Yeah. What did you do for charity?
I ran for Boston Medical Center.
Oh, okay. That's a common one, especially in Boston, because they do such great work.
Yeah.
Do you have that on your mind too? You're like, I can't let the charity down.
Yeah.
Nobody would blame you in that kind of heat, but it's like, I know that has to run through your mind.
It did, for sure. It was so much more than me in some of those moments. It was, okay, think about all of the lives that have been saved from the charity that I'm raising money for.
Yeah.
I'm doing this not just for me, but also for them. And it was definitely the push for some of those really dark moments that I had.
And you think about the people that helped you, whether it be family, friends, organizations. You think about those people that helped you out too. Again, nobody would blame you if you didn't finish, but you're like, I want to finish for them. I get it. So when was there a moment? You said mile 10, mile 17, another struggle.
Yeah.
That was like, okay, I'm serious. Was that okay? I'm seriously done.
I was like really, really close. And then it was like mile 22, 23. And my husband, I went up to him, I'm like, I'm done. He's like, you have a 5K left.
So he's on the rails. And
He's like, how many 5Ks have you done in your life?
What's his name?
Craig.
Listen, Craig.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I can't. He's like, it's 3 miles. You'll never forgive yourself. You can do this. How many 3-mile runs have you done? This is nothing at this point. He's like, even if you have to walk most of it, just get there. And I did.
And you weren't like the person coming in at like midnight either. You were trucking along for a while.
I was, yeah. I finished. It took me 6 hours to finish, which is not what I intended. But the crowds were still there. There were still people up and down the streets. Not the time that I had trained for or hoped for or envisioned. Boston went very, very different this time for me.
Yep.
But still very proud.
Yeah.
across that finish line.
No, as anybody, I mean, that must be completely rewarding to do it that way, especially when it almost makes it, I would imagine, are you sitting here today thinking to yourself, like, the fact that I almost quit several different times and just kept going, like, that must make you extra proud almost,
Yeah.
you didn't make your time, but like, it's a different storyline that you just weren't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense to me.
Sure.
So 22, you're about to shut it down.
Yeah.
Do you think you actually were about to shut it down? Or do you think are we giving Craig full credit for keeping you out there?
Well, there was a lot of factors, but he is like my comfort. We've been together for 18 years.
Wow!
So
Congratulations.
he's like my blanket.
Yeah. So
when he knows when I'm strong-headed,
Yeah.
don't usually like to back down. So when I say I'm good, he's like, okay, she means it. And so
Yeah.
he was just really the push. And then having Ben alongside me, hearing the crowd, people calling me out. There were other people running by. They were like, don't give up, you got this. And then hearing, people from the stands as I was getting closer, it was like just exactly what I needed.
Yeah, so you get to, when does that kick in? When you're like, Craig sends you along for the final three, you're back out there.
Yeah.
When does that like last lift set in of like, crowd, I can see the finish line, maybe not actually see it, but you know what I mean?
2.5 miles, I saw the sicko sign.
Sicko sign.
I saw the sicko sign. I was like, oh, we're almost there. Like, and I had a wave of emotions take over that, like, I'm doing this. Like, I can actually do this.
Yeah.
And I remember going down, the T was passing along the side of me. Somebody screaming, you're going faster than the green line. And I'm going down the hill. It's a little bit of a rolling. I go up past a facility, a bunch of people out there, and they're like, you are so close. And then I see the 1 mile on the road, and I'm like, I can't give up.
Yeah. That must be an awesome moment, crossing the 1 mile, because then at that point, are you almost like healthy again? It's like, you're not going to give up at this point. Like, maybe enjoy it.
The boot and rallying was like gone. All of a sudden I had this like pep of energy that I'm like, where was this 10 miles ago?
Yeah. I could have used you back at Heartbreak Hill.
Yes.
Oh man, that's too funny. Well, God, what a grind of a day though. I mean, I imagine, because I've heard stories in normal years that were cooler temperatures than this, of runners being like, sometimes you do see some stuff of other runners that are really struggling, and maybe somebody falls down right next to you, and you like, just you kind of just stay focused on your own game plan, and they're like, it's kind of harsh looking back on it. I imagine on a day like that, you probably saw a whole lot of stuff with the runners struggling.
I did.
Yeah.
There was a very elderly woman who fell and landed on a curb, and I stayed with her until we got her help, and it was an eye-opener for me too, around 15, 16, be like, I have to slow down, because that could have been me.
Yeah.
So it took a toll on a lot of people.
What are for some reason when you said because I don't know, like, I've heard stories about that, like the chills that set in, and I would imagine that would be like really scary, like running chills and heat stroke chills.
Yeah.
Like I kind of got chills in a weird way when you said that, just because it's like I can feel it, but anybody kind of knows what you're talking about, and I imagine it just makes you feel completely helpless out there.
Yeah. It's like pins and needles enter your entire body, and that's when you know that you're pushing it.
Yeah. Did you like stop on the rail for a second and like you ran through the chills?
I just kept going because I knew if I stopped, I wouldn't keep going.
Yeah.
It was like one of those moments where, okay, let's slow it down. Let's do like a speed walk, little light jog. But if I stopped, there was no recouping.
I mean, that's a hard thing to power through, though, right? One foot in front of the other, you're just telling yourself that.
Yeah.
Man.
Yep.
That is something. Felisha Lee is again joining us out of Sanborn, New Hampshire. Nice enough to join us in our Newburyport studios here after the Boston Marathon. 26.2 miles in the books. You doing any weekend running plans this weekend or no?
Not this weekend, but I do have a 5K coming up in a couple weeks, so we're gonna.
Give yourself a little break.
Yeah.
Good for you. A couple weeks. That's probably a good time. What is the post week? I mean, well, actually, let's go marathon night. What do you do? Do you just go to bed? Like,
no, have a beer.
Beer. You did the beer thing.
I
Okay.
had a beer.
Yep.
Had a juicy cheeseburger and some French fries.
Mm-hmm. At home, or do you do it in the city?
In the city.
Okay. Perfect.
And then the best shower of my life.
Yep.
And then I went to bed.
Do you do hot or cold shower?
Hot.
Hot.
You get the body chills when you overdo it.
Okay.
So you get, the shivers. It's almost like you have a runner's flu, I guess, but you really don't have the flu, but you've got the chills like you are having a fever flu type of thing.
Yeah.
So the warm shower warms you back up. Get on some comfy clothes and.
You didn't, because I imagine you're standing, and you probably don't want to be on your feet too much, but a hot shower is probably the perfect trick. Okay, and then you call it a night.
Call it a night.
Sleep well.
Like a baby.
What time did you wake up the next morning?
I woke up this morning at 5:30.
Okay. Wow. Right back at it. You have kids, of course. So.
Yeah.
How old are the kids? Were they there?
They were not there.
Okay.
3.5 and 1.5.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we'll have to. Hopefully, there's pictures of. This was the day, Mom almost, but did not quit the marathon.
Yep.
It's a good story to tell, right?
Yeah.
So that's 2 in the books for you. Is there a third?
Potentially.
So you've done the massive storm.
Yeah.
You've done the hottest day. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. There have been other hot days before, but was that pushing it?
I think it was in oh my goodness, 2018. I think it was 93 degrees.
Yeah, I remember that because there was one day where it was legit an issue.
Yeah,
right? I mean, this was an issue too, but like that was like there was probably some people on that day that shouldn't have even gone to the starting line because there was no chance.
I would have walked that one 100%.
Yeah, you would have walked the whole one.
Whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. Again, you're training in the wintertime. Mostly, right? New England, crazy. All right, so you might do a third. So you've done those 2 extremes, though.
Yeah.
Now that you've had, I kind of already asked you this, but I imagine like the stormy weather has to be better.
It is.
Yeah, that's the worst of the heat.
I felt like it was worse until I did this marathon because my complaint last time
Wind?
was, I started off in the rain.
Okay.
So you start your race wet, which is like never a good thing.
Yeah.
But then as I was running and I was getting through Natick, the sun came out, and it was 73. And now I'm like super hot, right? Because I was cold, freezing in the rain. Now it's warm. I'm dry again. And then I get through Heartbreak and start training again.
Yeah.
And then I finish Heartbreak, I'm getting ready to head into the city, and now the sun's back out and it's windy. And so I felt like my body couldn't quite regulate because of the hot and cold, hot and cold.
Yeah.
But running in straight heat the entire time, I would have preferred the hot and cold.
Yeah. It's not ideal.
No, neither are ideal.
We're going to get you a nice day to run your third marathon. That's the perfect
40s.
Runner's temperature. Yeah.
40s cloudy.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That's and I think everybody in Boston too. I mean, it probably annoys you guys, to be honest with you, but so many people were talking about finally some nice spring weather around here, and the runners are like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This is the day we bring spring back."
Yeah.
But man, what's the coolest part of the route for you though? Like if you can take out a lot of the stresses of it, were you able to soak in some great moments? Sitco sign was one, I know, but what else?
Yeah. Once I realized that this wasn't going to be the time that I wanted, soaking in the crowd.
Yep.
Taking it slow through some of the really heavy areas.
Was that pretty early on? You were like, there's no way in this temperature.
Once I started going through the Wellesley screaming tunnel of all the girls, and I was like, this isn't going to go the way that I wanted to.
Yeah.
High-fiving the people, having, a couple of conversations. There were people that ended up finding me while I was running and taking a minute just to stop. It's like, I'm not beating a time at this point.
Yeah.
Let me enjoy the people.
Yeah. So you were smart to just kind of say, you know what, let's make the best of this and let's just really soak up the experience. Yeah. That's smart. I mean, hopefully a lot of people did that because I imagine every runner who's not in that top 1% didn't make their time, right? I mean, nobody's breaking records in that kind of weather. I would think. I don't know. Maybe there are people who love the heat for 26.2 miles. I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
I don't know. What were did you have any conversations out there? Did you talk with people?
I did.
Yeah.
There was a woman who I met who sends herself emails that she sets as a future date to send herself. And her bucket list item was to run the Boston Marathon. And so she received the email that she had set up for herself in the fall, run the Boston Marathon in 2024.
Wow.
And so she's like, and here I am. And I'm like, that is crazy. She's probably 50, 55 years old.
Yeah.
Doing it for the first time.
Crazy organization. Definitely not my style.
But she was like, this is a bucket list item for me. There was another woman that I ran into at one point, and she kind of carried me along for a little bit. And she was running with her father. Mm-hmm. Her father ended up passing out, and he was like, don't wait for me, keep going. So she ended up running for the two of them. There was a team that
He passed out earlier in this race? Oh, and wow.
and he's like, don't stop, keep going.
Oh,
and so
man.
she was running the weight of her and her dad. Just a lot of just a really amazing people
Yeah.
cheering you on, pushing you through. They're like, looks like you need somebody right now. Let me be that person. For
Yeah.
you. And
everybody's different paces too. So maybe you talk with that woman for like a few miles and kind of lose her.
Yeah.
Or is that, I imagine nobody's with you the whole time, right?
yeah, no.
You kind of, yeah. Wow. It's an incredible story. What kind of, obviously you're an intense runner. Like was it always something like, did you just enjoy the casual run? And like, you were like, I'd love to do a marathon someday. How did it all build?
No, not at all. I am not a distant runner.
Yeah.
2019, I was working for BMC.
Yep.
And they were like, hey,
What were you doing with the BMC?
I worked in compliance and legal.
Okay.
Super fun stuff.
Yeah.
And we did a lot for the hospital,
Yep.
giving back and volunteering and working at the rooftop on their garden and that sort of thing. And they were like looking for charity runners. And I was like, I can do that.
Yeah.
So I put my hat in the ring, not really sure what to expect, and running evolved from there.
Wow. So it's 2019. So then you've got the first race before the pandemic and the first, well, yeah, I guess
Yeah. Didn't train for the first one.
didn't train at all.
No. I just showed up and ran.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something, you don't hear that all the time. Not, you didn't follow any plan.
No.
The week before?
I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I literally showed up on race day.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
like, okay, I can do this.
Wow.
Yeah. So this time I trained for it.
Yeah.
Hence why I was like, this is not what I trained for. This is not the outcome that I was expecting.
This was supposed to be so much better this year?
So much better.
Yeah. So what is the I have a rough idea of it, but like what's like that long run, the last long run you
20
do?
miles.
20 miles, and that's like a week before? Or?
No, 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. Yeah, I knew it was before. So it's like a month before you do 20 miles, and then you start coming down?
Correct.
Okay.
So that long weekend, I did 20 miles on Saturday. I did a 15-mile run on Sunday, and then I tapered down. So then the following week is like a 14, 15, and then you do like an 8, 10, and like maybe a little bit
Yeah.
of like a 5, and then you just kind of chill out for a bit.
Okay. So not a runner. Have you learned to love it? Do you like, or you still don't love it?
It's mental.
Yeah.
There are some good days. There are some bad days. There are days where you get out there and you're like, this is the best run I've had.
Yeah.
And then there's other days of your body's just like, no, I'm not feeling it.
Yeah. Do you ever pass on those days, or is that part of the thing? Like you just have to get yourself out there.
Yeah.
Don't ruin the training. Mm-hmm. And you always did it?
I always did it.
Wow. Good for you. I'm sure some people that's probably almost harder is the training, because it's like that's the consistency when you're doing it like that.
Motivation.
I mean, it's great. It's unbelievable discipline, and obviously a great achievement. What was it like, that feeling when you crossed the finish line?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yeah. Family waiting there, or friends? Yeah.
The whole pit crew.
Unbelievable. I mean, they must. I was there at the finish line too for a little bit, and there was some. How do I say it? There was some serious work. Those workers there were really scary, and some people crossed the finish line not in great shape.
Yeah.
As you can imagine. So there was a lot of checking in on people there at that point, and the tents were very, very busy. It is. I mean, I will say the marathon crew, like, they do look after people. Like I saw a lot of hard work being done behind the scenes there, and
Did you see the officers carrying a cross?
yeah.
Oh, that pulled on my heartstrings.
But like, I saw so much. The officers was great. Yeah, it was one of those moments. But it's like I saw a lot of that. Like there were a lot of people, like even like runners picking other runners up, and like you're gonna get to that finish line, go.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you really couldn't turn away. It was there. There was just so much of it. One of those Boston marathons for the ages, I guess, in that regard. So you're feeling good this week, though?
I am. I am. All things considered.
Doing radio shows,
Yeah.
TV shows. Hello, everybody. You look great. I mean, it's some people I'm sure have just decided to take this week and just sleep it away after a marathon. I think that's probably what I would do. I'd be like, nobody talk to me. I'm ordering takeout. Is that you probably get to? You can order whatever you want now. I don't know. Are you a healthy eater? I don't know. You can probably do takeout every night.
We're
Splurging?
Yeah, I'm like, let's have the burgers, the hot dogs, the pasta, all of the things that you shouldn't eat all at once.
The burger was the first meal. That might be mine too, actually.
With bacon.
Nice.
It was great.
Where'd you go?
Shake Shack.
Oh, so yes, that's probably a common one because it's just so quick, right?
They are.
The marathon people are looking for it. We need it now.
We do.
Yeah.
They gave us a cheese puffs, Cheetos or whatever. I'm like, Cheetos on my stomach probably don't be good, but let's go have a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Cheeseburger and a beer. Yeah. Beer must have tasted extra good after that.
It was great. It was great.
You have to be almost careful of that because obviously dehydration. So it's like this has been a long day. Mm-hmm. Slowest beer you've ever had, or?
Did not finish it.
Didn't, yeah.
But those sips that were consumed were fantastic.
It's funny. I knew you were going to say didn't finish it because, it always people always look forward to the beer celebratory, and then that happens so often. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how many marathon runners I've talked to that were like, got a beer, didn't finish it, but I got the taste to celebrate.
Yeah. Why would I think that's a good idea? I was ready to hurl for 10 miles, but let's have a beer.
Oh, no, it's a good idea.
But the sips, I'm like, you just have to.
Yeah, it's a celebratory thing.
Exactly.
You earned it. Even if you didn't finish it, you earned it. You finished the race. You didn't finish the beer, but you finished the race. That's the important thing. Good story for the kids. That must make you. I know the kids are young, but you must be like, it's a story to tell. You must be already It all goes back to that. You must be super proud about finishing.
Yeah, it's a story of determination, and every step forward is a step towards the goal.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the outcome is or how long it takes you to get to the end.
What's the best advice for, I'm sure there's, even before you went on, you got a full interview by our crew here because they just have so many questions.
Yeah.
But people are always thinking I could do a marathon, maybe I could do it. And I don't know. I think it's good to hear what got you into it, and what would your advice be to somebody, I guess, who's kind of been mulling over and every year says, maybe I should do it next year? What would you say to those people?
Find a charity.
Yep.
One that really speaks to your heart, and go after it and have fun. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's one of the most amazing races, regardless of what your time is. Enjoy the crowd and just have an overall amazing experience.
Isn't it a weird thing to say enjoy it when it's so taxing on every part of your body?
Yeah.
Your brain to just actual chills throughout your whole body.
Mm-hmm. It is. The first time I didn't enjoy it, I didn't know what to expect. I was in full-on survival to just get to the end.
So 2019, you would say, was a actual bad running experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned a lot. I learned that you actually have to train to run a marathon. You can't just show up.
Yeah.
But this time, all of the things I felt like were against me in that moment. But soaking it in and enjoying it and actually having a great experience, regardless of the fact that I wanted to quit and I felt like I was going to hurl.
Yeah.
I can look back and say, you know what, I didn't leave anything on that course.
Yeah.
I soaked it all in. I have stories, encouragement.
Yep. The hallelujah at the finish line is, I think everybody understands that moment. I always think that Boylston last stretch, the last half mile probably. It's not only it's obviously a cool part of Boston anyway on a normal day, but just having those crowds still there just cheering for you and just people it's just a crazy corridor. I get the good chills just watching it from whether you're there or on TV or whatever. Happen to be there this time, but even on TV in past years, I'm like, that must be just awesome. Just that final half mile in.
Yeah. You take your right, you take your left, and it's done. And it's just
like your husband said.
Yeah, right? But the crowd is insane.
Yeah.
They are so close to you that you can high-five them.
Yeah.
There is not a single space between anybody there. It is echoing. And then you hear them screaming your name as you're getting closer and closer to the finish line. And it's every ounce of doubt that you had of whether or not you can do it is gone.
Yep.
Because you have thousands of people who believe in you in that moment when you didn't even believe in yourself to get to the finish line.
Yeah. No, I think about it all the time. I knew people that were at the finish line during the marathon bombings too, and I can't go to the finish line whether it's marathon day or not, and not think of that. I think that a lot of people are in that boat, but it's just I I don't know. There's something special about just watching people cross there. I don't know. I think it makes all Boston people emotional when they see it. Even if it's good emotions, it's like, there are. I don't know. There's just something about that area there that's just kind of sacred ground, I guess now.
Yeah.
And it is. It's it always was, and now it is even more. But unbelievable. Felisha Lee's how's Sandown, New Hampshire? I don't hang out there much.
There's not much there. It's one
How far
road
is it from
in.
Newburyport?
About 45 minutes.
45 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing it. I appreciate you coming. I know it's been a recovery week here for you,
all right.
but
It's all right. Happy to be here.
what else do they tell you? What else do you have to do to recover? Is there any do this, don't do this?
First couple days,
Yep.
take it slow. Take some Epsom
Just
salts.
everything slow.
Hydrate. Take some Epsom salt baths. Hydrate. Keep up with the electrolytes. Refuel. And then Thursday, Friday, start running slowly. Couple miles.
Okay.
Get back into it.
They tell you to pick it back up.
Yeah, if you are planning on continuing your marathon journey, don't let the marathon training go. So you can pick back up, but you start back up at like 10 miles after a few weeks, and then you can kind of continue to keep up in the longer.
Your marathon journey meaning more marathons in your future.
Yeah, there are
Okay.
some people doing New York in November,
Okay.
so their training starts right back up here.
That
couple
makes
weeks.
sense. Because I think if somebody told me to start running here immediately after the marathon, I think my answer would be no.
Yeah. Yep.
But you have more marathons maybe in your future, so you're
We'll
going to
find
continue?
out. We'll find out.
All right.
I like half marathons. Those seem to be my comfort zone.
Okay.
And a lot of 5Ks.
But end of the week running here for you, you're going to get steak on it?
We're going to try.
You're going to try. All right. That's outstanding. I think it's a great story. 26.2 miles is hard on any day, never mind when it is those temperatures that this year's Boston Marathon saw. Usually on the show for first timers with a little rapid fire. You want to do these are fun. First thing that comes to mind? All right. Ready?
Okay.
Felisha Lee, this is a fun conversation after going through her grueling marathon. Do you like talking about it, or are you like, does it bring back like immediate, it's kind of soon to be like talking about, I felt it was the worst moment of my life, felt horrible, chills, like, I don't know. Is it all okay to talk about because you finished?
Is, yeah. And it's my story, and I'm proud of it, regardless of, the level of defeat I felt yesterday. I did it.
Yeah, you got through it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. All right, yeah, it's a great. The finish, I guess, I bet if you did stop at 17, you would have had a whole
different outcome.
You probably wouldn't be here.
No.
I'm not in the mood, Drew. All right, rapid fire with Felisha Lees, who just ran the Boston Marathon in those crazy temperatures. All right, favorite food?
Steak.
Steak. You didn't get a steak after you ran?
I know I should. Well, hamburger's kind of the same animal.
It's a good choice. You're fine. Favorite movie?
Ooh, that's a good one. Probably The Notebook.
Okay. Favorite musician of all time?
Oh my goodness, this is like, you're hitting me with the hard ones.
Stall. Did you have music in the ears, or
I took them out because I was getting distracted, but Eminem kept me through.
Wow. And the real Slim Shady did it.
Yeah, 8 Mile, man. That soundtrack was on loop.
Really?
Yep.
How many times you go through it?
More than once.
Okay, I mean, that's a great answer to that. So, but you took it out because you were distracted by you needed to just like focus on your body.
Focus, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. After Heartbreak, they came out, and I was like, I just have to be present.
Was there a certain song that you're just like, that is a great running song?
The Mom Spaghetti. Just kept repeating it over and over in my head, and then I was like, "Oh, it's about to be Mom Spaghetti. We gotta turn this off. I can't think about this anymore."
Oh my goodness, that's a great answer. Eminem, I think that does the answer to that question, unless you have another one. But Eminem's gonna fill the answer. Very good. Favorite city in the world other than Boston?
New York.
New York. Yeah. So are you eyeing the New York Marathon?
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm contemplating going for my 6 stars.
Which is?
Tokyo, Japan, New York, Chicago.
Oh, the 6 big marathons. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard it in that way. The 6 stars for them. Wow, okay.
6 star.
Wow. Okay. Very good.
So that's why I'm saying maybe.
Yeah. No
Maybe.
pressure. You're not going to get the pressure from me. It's fine. Let's do this a little more general one. I usually like to end with this one because we get a lot of like high school kids that listen and all that. What is the best career advice you've ever had?
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart.
Do what's going to make you happy.
And the BMC has led you to the marathon track and all that stuff. Very good. I am so fascinated by it, but that's a great marathon story. I think I think it's great. Felisha Lee is 26.2 in the books, and do your jogs to get back out there, but take it easy a little bit, will you?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. I know it's very nice of you to do it after running like that. Thank you to Maeve Power, Ryan Rothberg, Maya Gassman, Sarah Hayden, the boss, our small but mighty team here in Newburyport. We appreciate you very much. Felisha Lee, one more round of applause. Boston Marathon in the books. And a tough day. Very good by you. We'll see you all next time. All right, live at Drew's house, Joppa Afternoon Drive. Peace.